How's it, guys? Hello and welcome to the Wild Protea on a Friday with myself, Clinton Jarman. As you can see today, Bok Friday, supporting the Boks in the World Cup campaign. So yeah, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our online magazine, that is the Fair Digest. And yeah, straight into the news. Sorry. So the Springboks played the All Blacks last week, and we lost. Yeah, we lost 23-13. Just having a look back at the game now, I see a lot of sort of hate on social media for guys like Pollard and Faf de Klerk, and for Rassie as well. And I must just say that we knew what was going to happen coming into the game. We knew we were going to kick a lot. We knew the game plan. All I can say is that execution let us down. Guys are moaning about the way we played and stuff, but to be fair, we played that way the whole way through the rugby championship. No one moaned when we came home with the trophy. So I think it's a bit hypocritical to now want us to play in a different way. Like I said, just the failure to execute the game plan, that was the problem. The game plan wasn't the problem, because we did the same thing against the All Blacks and came out with a draw. And everyone was quite happy with that result. So, guys, I think give Rassie a chance. He's a clever guy, yeah. So, a large part of why we lost that game was because of the mistakes we made in the first half, where they scored, I think it was 17 points in 6 minutes. Now, when you play a side like the All Blacks, you can't have that type of lapse in concentration, silly mistakes that lead to tries like that, because they will punish you. And, besides that, they didn't really create too much. So, I mean, the game plan worked to a large degree, but yeah, execution let us down, especially from Faf. Faf wasn't really on it on the day. Yeah, we also didn't take our opportunities, of which we had quite a few. So that was disappointing after executing so well against Japan. But I mean, New Zealand's a different kettle of fish altogether. So yeah, I think, guys, just give the Boks a chance, give Rassie a chance. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when we come up against a decent team. Obviously now it's going to be easier. Well, it should be easy for us to make it through our group, but we'll most likely play against Ireland in the next round. And from what I saw against Ireland, against Scotland, I think we'll take the Irish. I really do. I think, they're number one in the world, but I think we'll take them. Well, they were number one in the world, but I think we can beat the Irish. And then once you get to the semi-final, anything is possible from there. Just looking at a few positives and negatives from the game. Some positives: we created chances. Chesden Colby's form. I mean, he was brilliant in the game. Yeah, he had a fantastic game, line breaks, just the support play was a bit slow in getting to him, and I think that's what cost us a few opportunities. Also a turnover right on their line as well, I think. And I think after Peter Stett's try, I don't think we capitalized on that momentum. I think Rassie could have made changes there, or he could have made changes again after the Pollard drop goal. That reduced the deficit, I think, to 4 points. It was 17, 13 at that point. And I think if we had to make changes then, I think it's just easier to make changes when you have momentum, as opposed to when he made the changes. New Zealand had kind of wrestled the momentum back in their favor. So it's very difficult for guys to come on and make an impact when they don't have the speed of the game. They're not up to the speed of play and stuff like that. So for all those guys calling out for Rusty to make changes and you should have done this and you should have done that, it's very easy to be a coach and say when things should happen and whatever. But in the heat of the moment, it's a tough decision. And for Rassie, if he makes the wrong one, if he sends the guys on and the All Blacks then go on to slaughter us and score a few more tries, then you guys are going to moan even more. So I think Rassie he wanted the guys on the field to change the momentum. I just don't think he recognized when that momentum had changed, and that he should have made probably a little bit more changes, a few earlier changes. Sorry. Yeah, and then just looking at errors cost us. Yeah, and then like I said earlier, other than the mistakes, the best team in the world couldn't put us away. And we by no means played well. So I think, that's a huge positive from the game. The fact that we didn't really play that well, but the All Blacks didn't really look that dangerous. Only when we made mistakes, that was really when it mattered. But that's when the good sides, punish you when you make mistakes. So I think, going forward, we'll be obviously trying to limit the mistakes and play better, execute our game plan better, rather. Sorry. So next up for the Boks is Namibia. Should be an interesting game in the fact that it should be quite a large score. We should get 5 log points from the game, given the fact that Namibia now have chosen to field this like a second string outfit against us, sort of maybe disrupting what we thought might have been a more competitive game, but I don't see it being any really competitive. Hopefully what we can get out of the game is some good structure, some good execution, and some good confidence. I think after a loss like that against the All Blacks, the boys will be still upbeat, but the confidence might have taken a knock, because I think we were really confident in taking that game. So yeah, just a quick look at the team. So Rassie's gone with Beast, Bongi and Vincent in the front row. Then locks we have RG Snyman and Lotte Jager. The loose trio is Francois Lowe, Kwagga Smith, and Skalk Brits at 8th man. Now Skalk Brits at 8th man, that's a bit of a surprise, but I think, this is obviously something that Rassie and the boys have worked on. So, I'll back them, and Skalk as captain as well. He's composed, experienced head. But in a lot of ways, Skalk plays as a loose forward. He's not the traditional sort of number 2, where he has the offloading ability, he has pace, he's got the skills, he gets to rucks. He's very much like a loose forward, and I think using him in that role will also allow for him to swap with Bongi maybe in the second half, where he can slot in there and Bongi then can get a bit of a rest towards the end of the game. So I think it's a bit of smart planning there from Rassie, and I think he'll slot in quite well. I really do. I mean, like I said earlier, he plays as sort of a fourth loose forward anyway, so I don't see any problems there. Then the back line, the 2 Yankees will play, Herschel and Alton. Then we've got Frans Steyn at 12, Lukanya Arm 13, Sabu Nkosi, he'll be 14, Mapimpi at 11, and Warwick Gallant. That's the starting lineup. Hopefully Gallant does well. Looking for him to do well, because Willie also didn't have a great game against the All Blacks, so it's good to know that the guys have competition going into the next few games and stuff like that. And then just a quick look at the bench as well. Stephen Kitsoff, Thomas du Toit, Sia Kolisi, Franco Mostert, Evan Etzebeth, Damien Dalendi, and Cheslin Colby. So Cheslin Colby obviously covering a number of positions there as well. Just a quick little injury update. Thomas du Toit comes in for Trevor Ninkani. Trevor, unfortunately, I think it was a tear of his calf muscle or something like that, and they're saying that he will be monitored in case there is an injury, and perhaps he might be able to come back, because it's that type of injury where it's not too serious, but for the World Cup, which is sort of 4 or 5 weeks or 6 weeks, that's sort of how long the injury usually takes to heal. But these situations, they said these types of situations can be monitored, and perhaps if there's another injury, he can come back depending on how he's rehabbing here in South Africa. So, disappointing for Trevor and disappointing for us as well, because I think him, Bongi and Beast are best front row. Obviously, maybe Rassie sees it a bit differently, but I just think those three give us everything. They're great in the scrums, and they're very mobile as well. Bongi's always there and thereabouts and stealing balls, and Beast is, his name says it all, Beast. So it's a bit of a loss there, but I don't think it'll be too much of a loss until the latter stages. That then it could come back to bite us, because Trevor is an exceptionally good scrummer, and in the latter stages you're going to need that stability. So bit of a blow there, but we'll wish Thomas well, and hopefully he can fill those big boots of Trevor. Then just moving on now, some cricket news. The men, we actually beat India by 9 wickets the other day. I watched the game, and I feel like it wasn't really, I feel like we didn't really win the game. I felt like India lost it. India got off to a flying start. I think they had 60 odd after the first 6 overs. They were flying, and then from then on they lost wickets, and it just seemed like every guy that came in just sort of tried to hit their way out of trouble, or just trying to smash everything out the park. And usually the Indians are a lot more subdued in that. When they lose a wicket or whatever, they usually build that, even though it's T20, they usually build that partnership for about 1 or 2 overs, 3, 4, 5 overs maybe, and then look to kick on. Even Virat Kohli coming in and holding out in the deep as well, very uncharacteristic of him as well. So I think maybe India were just out to sort of try and prove a point. That's what it looked like to me. Like they wanted to try and score 220 plus and put the game to bed after the first half, and sort of those sort of things. And I think that game plan for them backfired. But I must admit, though, I'm impressed with the way the guys stuck to their guns. Bjorn Hendricks was excellent on the day. Rabada, not his best, but he came back nicely in that one, where in the beginning he took a bit of a pasting, but he came back and got wickets at the end, which helped restrict him, obviously. So so it was a good performance with the ball. Bjorn Fortuin bowled nicely. Bowling was good, but bowling and fielding is sort of South Africa's strengths over the years. It's the batting department that we've struggled really. Just in the batting, Clinton Jarman, he scored a not out there, 79, leading from the front, the captain, the skipper, opening the batting, and he was really brutal on anything short on the day. I think the Indians, their batting performance sort of went into their bowling performance, where they didn't really hit their lengths. They didn't really trouble the batters too much, to be honest. Reza Hendricks kind of gave his wicket away, and then Pavuma looked solid. De Kock looked really solid. And there was a little bit of a mix-up where India used up their review to try and get, I think it was Hendricks at the time. I believe it was Hendricks at the time, for an LBW. But the ball was going way down leg side, and that came back to bite them, because they had Quinton plumb in front, an over or two later, and that could have made a difference in that one, because Quinton's the only one really setting the world alight in that South African side. So if they had got Quinton, things could have been different. But as it was, Quinton went on to smash the ball to all parts, and pretty much won the game for us. So after the performance before, where we were outplayed, yes, India didn't play well, but we took the opportunity well to beat them, which is important. against these quality sides like India, Australia, England, when you get a chance to beat them, even if you're not playing your best cricket, you've got to win that game. And it's something that's always really irked me about South African cricket, is that we never really identify those moments and we let it slip, and then a good team comes back and they kill you after that. So I think what Clinton did well was he recognized that, listen, they've got a way below par total here. Let's get on this park here and absolutely dominate these guys from ball one. And that's what he did. He was very brutal. Anything short, anything wide, anything on his pads, he just murdered. So it was great to see a bit of aggression from Clinton. I think he's lacked that in his game. Especially at the World Cup, I thought he was very subdued at the World Cup. I think it's because of all the pressure that was on him in the World Cup. And in a weird way, having the captaincy might have just freed him up to make that decision by himself. Like, I'm going to go hard here because I want to lead from the front and that sort of thing. So, so well done to the boys. And now we look forward to the Test Series. Test Series will start on the 2nd of October. Just a little bit of news regarding that. Aiden Markram scored another 100 in a warm-up game. He had scored 100 for the SAA side, so that's good going into the series. And it could be an interesting series. Obviously everyone's expecting the Indians to do very well. So am I, to be fair. But we'll have to just wait and see on this one. A few guys have now retired from our side, so the batting order is gonna change around. Be interesting to see what they do with the batting order now, because you've now lost, Hashim Amla. Does Zubair Hamza come in? For me, that would be the guy to come in for me. Dominated at domestic level, and every chance he's got, he's sort of taken. And hopefully he can get in there and get some runs. I'm not sure who or what the team is going to look like, but it's going to be an interesting one, because the Proteas are in a bit of a transition phase now, where guys have moved on from the game, and now there's new guys that have come in, and we've got to see if they're good enough to do the job. So it would be. It's a very difficult place to begin a transition period in cricket, but possibly maybe it's better than having like a home series against Bangladesh or something, where you might smash them, but you might not learn too much. I think this way we're going to learn a lot, and the guys are going to learn a lot in India. Hopefully we can be an extremely competitive unit and come together as a team, and hopefully Knock can have a great start. The coach, his first time coaching a team in India, so we'll see how it goes, and obviously we'll bring it all to you here on the Wild Protea, and I'll be having a look and reviewing the games and seeing who's doing well and where we're going and that sort of thing. And then just sticking with cricket now, the Proteas women, they lost to India by 11 runs. Now I must admit that I haven't followed women's cricket as well as the men's. Obviously, before it wasn't really televised. It's being televised now, and I will be trying to get up to date with all the women's stuff. So just a little bit of information on that one. So we bowled first. We restricted India to 130 for 8 in their 20 overs. Ismail taking 3 wickets. And then in our innings, we sort of suffered a bit of early collapse, but I hope I'm saying this right. Minion Dupreya scored 59 and took it right to the end. And just having a look at the sort of last few overs, we were still in the game, still very much in the game there. And had Dupreya not gone out, things could have been different. It was a tough situation where I think we needed, I'm not too sure, I think we needed like 13 or 3 or something like that, something to that effect, and she was trying to clear the rope and got stumped. So quite close there to beating India, and so we'll keep the keep watching the girls, and hopefully they can pull out a win in their third T20, sorry, because the second one got rained out, match abandoned. So yeah, tough one there. So hopefully they can come back and get the win again. To be really keen to see the women do well, and to follow them and support them, and give them all the support that they need. The sport is growing in South Africa and the world, and I think it's important for us to take note and get behind them and show them that we love them and we want them to continue to do well for South Africa. And then last but not least, the IAAF World Champs start today. So good luck to all our athletes. We hope that they can all bring home gold medals, and we can be hopefully second, third again in the standings with regards to medals. So yeah, guys, good luck. So yeah, that's my bit for this Friday. Thanks for joining me. Join me every Friday on the Wild Protea. We'll be reviewing the Bok games, Protea games, whatever you guys want me to review, I will have a look at. So like I said, guys, get commenting below. I want to see the reactions. I want to see what you guys want to hear. What do you want to hear from me? Let's get a conversation going, and let's really get a South African fan channel going here. So yeah, guys, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification button. Don't forget to subscribe to our online magazine as well, the Fair Digest. And yeah, thanks for joining me.